네, 월요일에 сед어잉 The Power of Positive Thinking 적극적 사고방식의 힘 되겠습니다.
Hello and welcome to Read and Learn English. Have you ever felt that your thoughts were holding you back? Maybe you wanted to try something new, but a small voice inside your mind said, "You can't do this." Today, we will explore a powerful idea that can change your life, the power of positive thinking. And while you listen to this story, you will also improve your English step by step in a natural and easy way. Let me tell you a story. My name is Alaric Vance. I work as a junior architect in a quiet city near the sea. I design small buildings, mostly houses and cafes. On the outside, my life looks stable. I have a job, a small apartment, and a daily routine that never changes. But inside, my mind often feels heavy. Every morning, I wake up and look at my reflection in the mirror. And almost every morning, I say the same thing to myself. You are not good enough. I do not shout it. I do not say it loudly. It is just a quiet thought, but it is always there. At first, I did not notice it. It felt normal, like background noise. But over time, that small thought began to grow. It followed me to work. It stayed with me when I talked to my boss. It even came with me when I sat alone at night, trying to draw new designs. One evening, I stayed late at the office. The room was silent, and the lights felt cold. I was working on a design for a small community library. It was an important project. My boss said it could bring me a promotion. But as I looked at my drawing, I felt a deep pressure in my chest. This is not good, I whispered. Someone else can do better. I erased my work again and again. Every line felt wrong. Every idea seemed weak. Hours passed, but I made no real progress. Then something strange happened. My coworker, a woman named Leora, walked into the office. She was not supposed to be there that late. She looked at me and smiled gently. You're still here, Alaric? I nodded. I'm trying to fix this design, but it's not working. She walked closer and looked at my sketch. She studied it carefully without speaking. My heart began to beat faster. I was afraid of her reaction. After a moment, she said, "This is actually very good." I almost laughed. No, it's not. It's full of mistakes. She shook her head slowly. No, it's not perfect, but it has feeling. It has purpose. You just don't see it. Her words surprised me. No one had said something like that before. I looked at her, confused. How can you be so sure? She pulled a chair and sat next to me. Because I used to think like you. That caught my attention. What do you mean? I asked. She took a deep breath and looked at the window, where the city lights were shining softly. I used to believe that every idea I had was not enough, she said. I compared myself to everyone. I focused on my weaknesses, and slowly, I stopped growing. I stayed silent, listening carefully. But one day, she continued. Someone told me something simple. They said, "Your thoughts are shaping your reality." At first, I did not believe it. It sounded too easy. I leaned back in my chair. Her words felt strange, but also interesting. So, what changed? I asked. She smiled again, but this time it was different. It felt deeper. I decided to test it, she said. Just as an experiment. I started to change the way I spoke to myself. I frowned slightly. You mean positive thinking? She nodded. Yes, but not fake happiness. Not pretending everything is perfect. Real, honest, positive thinking. I looked down at my drawing again. How can thinking change anything? I asked quietly. She pointed at
She
my
pointed
sketch.
at my sketch.
Because your
Because
thoughts
your
affect your
thoughts affect
actions,
your action,
and your
and
actions
your
create
action
your
create
results.
your result.
I did not
I did
answer.
not answer.
I wanted to
to
understand,
understand,
but part of me
part
still
of me
resisted.
still resisted.
She stood up
She
and walked
stood
toward
up
the
and
door.
walked toward the door.
Before leaving, she
Before
turned
leaving,
back
she
and said
turned
something
back
that
and
stayed in my
something that
mind.
stayed in my mind.
Tomorrow, she said, try one thing.
Try one thing.
When you wake up,
When you
don't
wake
say,
up, don't
I'm
say,
not good
I'm
enough.
not good
Say,
enough.
I am
Say,
learning.
I'm
I am
learning.
improving.
I'm improving.
Just try it for
try
one
it
day.
for one day.
Then she
Then
left.
she left.
I sat there
I
alone
sat
again.
there alone again.
The office was
The office
silent,
was silent,
but my mind was not.
was not.
I am learning. I am improving.
I'm improving.
The words
The
felt
word
uncomfortable,
felt uncomfortable,
almost wrong,
almost wrong,
like wearing
like
clothes
wearing
that did not
clothes that
fit.
did not fit.
I packed
I
my bag and
my
went
bag
home,
and
but her
went
voice
home,
followed
but
me.
her voice
That
followed
night,
me.
I
That
could
night,
not
I
sleep
could not
easily.
sleep easily.
My mind kept
My
repeating
mind
her
kept
sentence
repeating
again
her
and again.
sentence again and again.
I am learning.
I'm learning.
I am
I'm
improving.
improving.
Part of me
Part
wanted
of
to
me
reject
wanted
it.
to reject
Another
it.
part
Another
felt
part
curious.
felt curious.
The next morning,
The
I
next
stood in
morning,
front
I
of the
stood
mirror
in
as
front of
usual.
the mirror as
The
usual,
same
the
face,
same face,
the same
the
tired
same
eyes.
tired eyes.
And then the
And
moment
then the
came.
moment came.
My old
My
thought tried
old
to appear.
thought tried to appear.
You are not
You
good
are
enough.
not good enough.
But this time, I
But this
paused.
time I paused.
I remembered
I
Leora's
remembered
words.
Leona's
Slowly
words.
and with some
Slowly
doubt,
and with
I
some
said
doubt,
something
I
different.
said something different.
I am learning.
I'm learning.
I am
I'm
improving.
improving.
The sentence
The
felt
sentence
weak,
felt weak,
uncertain,
uncertain,
but it was
but
new.
it was new.
And that small change began something I did not expect. Because later that same day, something surprising happened at work. Something that made me question everything I believed about myself. And that was only the beginning. That morning felt different, but not in a big, dramatic way. It was a small change, almost invisible. Still, I could feel something shifting inside me, like a quiet movement in my thoughts. I am learning. I am improving. I repeated the sentence again while walking to work. It still felt strange, but it did not feel impossible anymore. When I arrived at the office, everything looked the same. The same desks, the same soft noise of keyboards, the same smell of coffee in the air. But my mind was watching more carefully now. I sat down and opened my design for the community library. Normally, I would feel stress immediately. I would look for mistakes before anything else. But this time, I tried something different. Instead of asking, what is wrong with this? I asked, what is working here? At first, I found nothing. My mind stayed quiet. It was used to negative thoughts, not positive ones. But after a few seconds, I noticed something small. The entrance looks welcoming, I thought. It was not a big success. It was just one small detail. But it was something. Then I found another thing. The windows bring in a lot of natural light. Slowly, I began to see my work in a new way. Not perfect, but not terrible either. Just unfinished, still growing. Later that day, my boss, Kalen, called me into his office. He was a serious man, not very emotional, and his voice was always calm. Alaric, he said, I want to see your progress on the library project. My heart started beating faster. This was the moment I always feared. I walked to his desk and showed him my design. I waited for criticism. I expected him to find problems immediately. He looked at the drawing for a long moment. Then he said, this is interesting. I blinked. Interesting? He nodded. The structure is simple, but the space feels open. It invites people inside. I felt a small shock inside me. His words were similar to Leora's. He pointed at a part of the design. However, this section needs improvement. It feels too closed. Normally, I would hear only the negative part. I would focus on the mistake and ignore everything else. But this time, something was different. I heard both. Yes, there was a problem, but there was also something good. I understand, I said. I will
I'll
improve that
improve that
section.
section.
He gave a
He
short
gave a
nod.
short nod.
Good.
Good.
I believe
I
you can make
really
this
can
design
make this
stronger.
design stronger.
I left his
I
office
left
in
his
silence,
office in silence,
but inside my thoughts were
my
loud.
thoughts were loud.
I
I
believe you
believe you
can.
can.
No
No
one had
one
said
had
that to me in
said
a
that to
long
me
time.
in a long time.
When I returned
When
to
I
my
returned
desk,
to
I
my
sat
desk,
there
I
without
sat there
moving for a
without moving
moment.
for a moment.
My old
My
thinking
old
tried to
thinking tried
return.
to return.
They are
They
just
are
being
just
polite.
being polite.
It is not
It
really
is not
good.
really good.
But then I
I
remembered what
remember
Leora said. Your
your
thoughts are
thoughts
shaping
are
your
shaping
reality.
your reality.
I took a
I
slow
took a
breath.
slow breath.
No,
No,
I whispered to
I
myself.
whispered to myself.
I am learning.
I'm
I am
learning. I'm
improving.
improving.
That
That
afternoon, I
afternoon,
worked
I worked
differently.
differently.
I did not rush. I did not
I did
erase
not
everything
erase
again
everything
and
again and
again.
again.
I
I
focused on one
focused on
problem at a
one
time,
problem at a time,
and something
and
surprising
something
happened.
surprising happened.
I actually
I
made
actually
progress.
made a progress.
Not perfect
Not
progress,
perfect progress.
not
Not
fast
fast
progress,
progress.
but
But
real
real
progress.
progress.
Days
Days
passed,
passed,
and I
and
continued
I
this small
continued this
practice.
small practice.
Every morning, I stood in
I
front of the
stood
mirror
in
and
front of
repeated
the
the
mirror
same
and
sentence.
repeated the same sentences.
I am learning.
I'm learning.
I am
I am
improving.
improving.
At
At
first, it felt like I was
it
lying,
felt like I was
but
lying.
after a few
But
days,
after a
it
few
started
days,
to
it
feel
started to appear
possible.
possible.
Then, after
Then,
1 week,
after
something
1 week,
unexpected
something
happened
unexpected
again.
happened again.
I received
I
an
received
email.
an email.
It was from a
It was
design
from a
competition in
design
another
competition
city.
in another city.
I had applied
I had
months ago,
applied
but I had
months ago,
forgotten
but I
about
had
it.
forgotten about
At
it.
that
At
time,
that
I
time,
did not
I did not
believe I had any
I had
chance to
any
win.
chance to win.
My hands
My
felt
hand
cold as I
felt
opened the
cold as I
message.
opened the message.
Dear
Dear
Alaric
Alaric
Vance, we are
we are
pleased to
pleased to
inform you.
inform you.
I
I
stopped
stopped
reading.
reading.
My
My
heart was
heart was
beating too
beating too
fast.
fast.
I
I
closed my eyes
closed
for a
my eyes
second,
for a second,
then opened them again and
opened them
continued.
again and continued.
That your design has
Your
been
design
selected
has
for
been
the final
selected for the
round.
final round.
I stared at
I
the screen.
stared at the
I
screen.
read the
I read
sentence
the
again
sentence
and
again
again.
and again.
Selected. Final round. It did not
It's not
feel
feel
real.
real.
A strong emotion rose
Emotion
inside
rose
me.
inside of me.
Not fear this
Not fear
time.
this
Something
time.
else.
Something else.
Hope.
Hope.
I stood
I
up and
stood
walked quickly
and
to find
walked
Leora.
quickly to find
She was at her
Leora.
desk
She was
working
at her
quietly.
desk working quietly.
Leora, I said, trying to control my voice. I need to show you
I need
something.
to show you something.
She looked
She
up and
looked
saw
up
my
and
face.
saw my face.
What happened? I
I
showed her the email.
email.
She read it
She
carefully, then looked at me with a bright
with a
smile.
bright smile.
I knew it,
I knew,
she said. I
I
shook my head.
No,
No, this must be luck.
be luck.
She crossed her
She
arms and
closed
looked at
her
me
arms
seriously.
and looked at me.
No, Alaric, this is
No,
not luck. This is your work. And maybe it is also your new way of thinking. I hesitated.
I hesitated.
You really believe that?
Really believe that?
She nodded. Yes,
Yes.
but this is only the
This
beginning.
is only the beginning.
I frowned slightly. What do you mean?
What do you mean?
Her expression became more serious. The final round is not easy, she said. You will present your design in front of a group of experts. They will ask questions. They will challenge your ideas. My stomach tightened. Old fears started to rise again. I don't know if I can do that, I said. She stepped closer. This is your next test, Alaric. Not just your design, your thinking. I looked at the floor. My mind became noisy again. What if I fail? What if I forget everything? What if they see that I am not good enough? The old voice was back, stronger than before. Leora placed a hand on my shoulder. You have two choices, she said softly. You can go back to your old thoughts, or you can continue this new path. I did not answer, because deep inside, I knew something important. This was not just about a competition. This was about who I was becoming. And that night, as I sat alone in my apartment, looking at the email again, one question stayed in my mind. Was I really ready to believe in myself? Or would I lose everything the moment fear returned? The answer would come soon, and it would not be easy. That night, I did not turn on the lights in my apartment. I sat near the window, watching the city slowly fall asleep. The email was still open on my laptop, glowing softly in the dark. Selected for the final round. Those words
Those
felt
words
heavy
felt
now.
heavy now.
At first, they gave me
They
hope,
gave him hope.
but
But
now
now
they also brought fear.
fear.
I
I
leaned back in my
leaned
chair and
back in
closed
my
my
chair
eyes.
and closed my eyes.
What if I
What
failed?
if I failed?
The question
The
came
question
again,
came again,
stronger than before.
than before.
I
I
imagined standing in
imagined
front of a room
standing in
full of
front of a
experts.
pool of
I saw their
experts. I
serious
saw their
faces.
serious faces.
I heard their difficult
their
questions.
difficult questions.
In my
In
mind,
my
I
mind,
forgot my
forgot
words.
my word.
I made
I made a
mistakes.
mistake.
I looked weak. My chest
My
felt
chest
tight.
felt tight.
This
This
is
is
too much, I
I
whispered.
whispered.
I am not
I'm
ready.
not ready.
For a
For a
moment, I
moment,
wanted to close the laptop
the
and forget
laptop,
everything.
forget everything.
I wanted to return to my safe,
to my
quiet
safe,
life.
quiet life.
No risks,
No
no
risk,
pressure.
no pressure.
But then
But
another
then
thought appeared.
Another thought appeared.
Soft,
Soft,
calm, but clear.
but clear.
I am learning.
I'm learning.
I am
I'm
improving.
improving.
I opened my
I
eyes
opened
slowly.
my eyes
The
slowly.
sentence felt
The
different now.
sentence felt
It was no
different
longer
now.
just a practice.
No longer.
It felt like a
It
choice.
felt like a choice.
I stood up and walked to the mirror. My reflection looked tired, but there was something new in my eyes. Something small, but real. I am afraid, I said honestly. Then I took a deep breath. But I am still learning. I am still improving. The fear did not disappear, but it became quieter. And in that quiet moment, I understood something important. Positive thinking is not about removing fear. It is about moving forward, even when fear is still there. The next morning, I made a decision. I would go to the competition, not because I felt confident, but because I wanted to grow. The following days were not easy. In fact, they were some of the most difficult days of my life. I had to prepare my presentation. I had to explain my design clearly. I had to answer questions that I could not predict. At first, everything felt messy. I spoke too fast. I forgot my points. I lost my focus. One evening, after a long day of practice, I sat down and covered my face with my hands. This is not working, I said. The old voice was back again. You are not good enough. It felt stronger this time, almost convincing. I stayed silent for a long moment. Then I slowly removed my hands and looked at my notes. No, I said quietly. This is part of learning. I remembered something Leora once told me. Growth feels uncomfortable. I stood up again. I am learning, I repeated. I am improving. But this time, I added something new. I am not perfect. And that is okay. That sentence changed everything. From that moment, I stopped trying to be perfect. Instead, I focused on being clear. Instead of trying to impress, I tried to communicate. I practiced speaking slowly. I practiced explaining my ideas in simple words. I imagined the audience not as judges, but as people who wanted to understand. And slowly, something amazing happened. I began to feel calm. Not always, not completely, but enough to continue. Finally, the day of the competition arrived. The building was large and modern. The walls were made of glass, and the inside was bright and open. It felt important, serious. My hands were cold as I walked inside. Other participants were already there. Some looked confident. Some were talking easily. Some were reviewing their notes with strong focus. I felt small again. For a moment, I wanted to leave. I don't belong here, I thought. But then I stopped walking. I closed my eyes for a second. I am learning. I am improving. I opened my eyes again and walked forward. When it was my turn, my name was called. Alaric Vance. The room suddenly felt very quiet. I walked to the front. My heart was beating loudly, but I kept moving. I stood in front of the audience and looked at them. 3 judges sat at a long table. Their faces were calm, but serious. I took a deep breath. For 1 second, my mind went empty. This was the
This
moment.
was the moment.
The moment
The
I had
moment
feared.
I had feared.
The moment
The
I had
moment
prepared
I had
for.
prepared for.
The moment
The
that could
moment
change
that could
everything.
change everything.
I remembered all
I
the
remember
practice,
all the
doubt,
practice,
all the
all
small
the
changes in
small
my
changes
thinking.
in my thinking.
And then
And
I
then I
began.
began.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is
is
Alaric
Alec
Vance.
Vance.
Today, I want to share a design that
a
focuses
design
on
that
connection,
focuses on
light,
connection,
and
light,
community.
and community.
My voice was
My
not
voice
perfect,
was not perfect,
but it was steady.
It was steady.
As I
As
continued,
I
something
continued,
unexpected
something
happened.
unexpected happened.
I did not
I
forget my
did not
words.
forget my words.
I did not
I did
freeze.
not freeze.
Instead, I felt present.
present.
I explained
I
my ideas
explained
clearly.
clearly.
I showed my design
my
step by
design
step.
steps.
I spoke
I
about the
spoke
purpose
about
behind
the
every
purpose
detail.
behind every detail.
I even
I
paused when
even
needed.
paused when needed.
I breathed. I looked
I
at the
looked at
judges,
the judges,
and they were
and
listening.
they were listening.
Really listening. After I finished,
After I
the judges
finished,
began
the
to
judges
ask
began
questions.
to ask questions.
Some were easy, some were difficult. At one point, I did not know the perfect answer. My old self would have panicked, but this time, I stayed calm. That is a good question, I said. I have not fully solved that part yet, but I am exploring different ideas. The judge nodded. That moment felt powerful, not because I had all the answers, but because I was honest and still confident. When it was over, I walked out of the room slowly. My body felt light, but my mind was full. Did I do well? I asked myself. I don't know. But I did my best. And for the first time in a long time, that felt enough. Later that evening, all participants were called back into the main hall. The results were ready. My heart started beating fast again. This was it. The final moment. The announcer walked onto the stage and opened an envelope. The winner of this year's design competition is... I held my breath. Everything became silent. And then a name was called. But it was not mine. For a second, I felt nothing. Then a quiet disappointment entered my chest. I stood still, trying to understand my feelings. I had not won. After everything, I had not won. But strangely, I did not feel broken. I did not feel like a failure. Instead, I felt something unexpected. Respect. For myself. I had faced my fear. I had changed my thinking. I had grown. And as I stood there in that quiet moment, I realized something important. Winning was not the biggest victory. Something else had changed inside me. Something deeper. And that change would soon lead me to an opportunity I never imagined. I stood in the hall for a few more seconds, listening to the applause for the winner. People were smiling, shaking hands, taking photos. It was a happy moment, just not mine. At least that was what I thought at first. Then I slowly turned and walked toward the exit. My steps were calm, but my mind was full of quiet thoughts. You didn't win. Yes, but you didn't fail either. That second thought surprised me. It felt gentle, almost like a new voice inside me. Outside, the evening air was cool. I took a deep breath and looked up at the sky. The city lights were bright, but I could still see a few stars. I did my best, I whispered. And for the first time, those words did not feel like a weak excuse. They felt honest, strong, real. As I started walking away, I heard someone call my name. Alaric, I turned around. One of the judges was walking toward me. He was the oldest of the three, with calm eyes and a thoughtful expression. Do you have a moment? He asked. Yes, of course, I replied, a little surprised. He smiled slightly. I wanted to speak with you about your presentation. My heart started beating faster again. Was something wrong? I really appreciated your design, he said. But more than that, I appreciated how you presented it. I blinked. Thank you. He nodded. You were
You
clear,
are
honest,
real,
and
honest,
thoughtful.
and thoughtful.
You didn't try
You
to be
didn't
perfect.
try to be perfect.
You tried to
You
communicate.
tried to communicate.
His words
His
stayed in the
words
air for a
stayed
moment.
in the air for a moment.
That is a
That
rare
is a rare
skill,
skill.
he
He
continued.
continued.
And it
And
is
it
something
is
we
something
value
we value
greatly.
greatly.
I
I
felt a
felt a
small
small
warmth in my
warmth.
chest. We are
We are
working on a
working
new
on a
community
new community
project,
project,
he
he
said.
said.
And we are looking
We
for
are
someone who
looking
can
for
grow with the
someone who
team,
can grow with
someone
the
who is
team, someone
open,
who
willing
is
to
open,
learn,
willing
and
to
able to
learn,
think
and
with
able to
purpose.
think with
He paused,
He paused,
then looked directly at
then
me.
looked directly at
Would
me.
you be interested in
Would you
joining
be
us?
interested in joining
For a
us?
moment,
For
I
a
could not
moment, I
speak.
could not speak.
The question
The
felt
question
unreal.
felt real.
Join you? I finally
I
asked.
finally asked.
He nodded.
He nodded.
Yes. Not as a winner of the competition, but as someone with potential.
Someone with
I felt my
potential.
eyes
I
open
felt
wider.
my eyes open
Potential.
wider. Potential.
That word touched
That
something
touched
deep inside me.
deep inside
Just a few weeks
Just
ago,
a
I
few
did not
weeks,
believe I
could
had
not
any.
believe I had any.
And now,
Now
someone else could see it.
could see it.
I would be honored. I said, my voice slightly unsteady. He smiled. Good. We will contact you soon. We shook hands, and then he walked away. I stood there, completely still. The night felt different now. The city felt different. Even I felt different. I had not won the competition, but I had gained something much more important. I had changed the way I saw myself. And that change opened a new door, a better door. In the weeks that followed, my life slowly began to shift. I joined the new project team. I worked with experienced designers. I learned new skills. I made mistakes. And I learned from them. But the biggest change was not in my job. It was in my mind. Every morning I still stood in front of the mirror. And every morning I said the same words. I am learning. I am improving. But now I believe them. Not perfectly, not every day, but more and more. And over time, those simple words became something powerful. They changed how I worked. They changed how I spoke. They changed how I faced problems. Positive thinking did not make my life perfect. It did not remove challenges. But it gave me strength. It gave me direction. It gave me hope. And most importantly, it helped me move forward. So if you are listening to this story and thinking, this cannot work for me, I understand. I once thought the same. But maybe, just maybe, you can try one small change, one small sentence, one small new thought. Because sometimes the smallest change in your thinking can create the biggest change in your life. And that is the true power of positive thinking. Now it's time to learn some useful vocabulary from today's story. Reflection means the image you see in a mirror or on a surface. Example, I looked at my reflection in the mirror. Pressure means a feeling of stress or worry. Example, I felt pressure before my presentation. Opportunity means a chance to do something new or good. Example, this job is a great opportunity for me. Potential means the ability to grow or become better in the future. Example, she has the potential to be a great leader. Honest means telling the truth and being real. Example, he gave an honest answer. Improve means to become better. Example, I want to improve my English every day. Now let's do some shadowing practice. Listen and repeat after me. I am learning. I am improving. I am not perfect, and that is okay. I did my best. I believe in my growth. I can move forward. My thoughts can change my life. Thank you so much for learning English with this story. Now I have a...
네, 이렇게 해서 끝이 났습니다. The power of positive thinking, 적극적 사고방식의 힘이 되겠습니다. 짧은 소설을 도전해보고자 합니다. The Door in the Wall by H.G. Wells, short story audio북이네요.
Privilege.
or the victim of a fantastic dream? I cannot pretend to guess. Even the facts of his death, which ended my doubts forever, throw no light on that. That much the reader himself saw. Gates of Imagination presents The Door in the Wall by Herbert George Wells, read by Arthur Lane. Chapter 1. One confidential evening, not 3 months ago, Lionel Wallace told me the story of the door in the wall, and at the time I thought that so far as he was concerned it was a true story. He told it me with such a direct simplicity of conviction that I could not do otherwise than believe in him. But in the morning, in my own flat, I woke to a different atmosphere. And as I lay in bed and recalled the things he had told me, stripped of the glamour of his earnest, slow voice, denuded of the focused, shaded table light, the shadowy atmosphere that wrapped about him and the pleasant, bright things, the dessert and glasses and napery of the dinner we had shared, making them for the time a bright little world quite cut off from everyday realities. I saw it all as frankly incredible. He was mystifying, I said, and then, how well he did it. It isn't quite the thing I should have expected him, of all people, to do well. Afterwards, as I sat up in bed and sipped my morning tea, I found myself trying to account for the flavor of reality that perplexed me in his impossible reminiscences, by supposing they did in some way suggest, present, convey. I hardly know which word to use. Experiences it was otherwise impossible to tell. Well, I don't resort to that explanation now. I have got over my intervening doubts. I believe now, as I believed at the moment of telling, that Wallace did, to the very best of his ability, strip the truth of his secret from me. But whether he himself saw, or only thought he saw, whether he himself was the possessor of an inestimable privilege, or the victim of a fantastic dream, I cannot pretend to guess. Even the facts of his death, which ended my doubts forever, throw no light on that. That much the reader must judge for himself. I forget now what chance comment or criticism of mine moved so reticent a man to confide in me. He was, I think, defending himself against an imputation of slackness and unreliability I had made in relation to a great public movement in which he had disappointed me. But he plunged suddenly. I have, he said, a preoccupation. I know, he went on after a pause that he devoted to the study of his cigar ash. I have been negligent. The fact is, it isn't a case of ghosts or apparitions, but it's an odd thing to tell of Redmond. I am haunted. I am haunted by something that rather takes the light out of things, that fills me with longings. He paused, checked by that English shyness that so often overcomes us when we would speak of moving or grave or beautiful things. You were at St. Athelstan's all through, he said, and for a moment that seemed to me quite irrelevant. Well, and he paused. Then very haltingly at first, but afterwards more easily, he began to tell of the thing that was hidden in his life, the haunting memory of a beauty and a happiness that filled his heart with insatiable longings, that made all the interests and spectacle of worldly life seem dull and tedious and vain to him. Now that I have the clue to it, the thing seems written visibly in his face. I have a photograph in which that look of detachment has been caught and intensified. It reminds me of what a woman once said of him, a woman who had loved him greatly. Suddenly, she said, the interest goes out of him. He forgets you. He doesn't care a rap for you, under his very nose. Yet the interest was not always out of him, and when he was holding his attention to a thing, Wallace could contrive to be an extremely successful man. His career, indeed, is set with successes. He left me behind him long ago. He soared up over my head and cut a figure in the world that I couldn't cut. Anyhow, he was still a year short of 40, and they say now that he would have been in office, and very probably in the new cabinet if he had lived. At school he always beat me without effort, as it were by nature. We We were at school together at St. Athelstan's College in West Kensington for almost all our school time. He came into the school as my co-equal, but he left far above me, in a blaze of scholarships and brilliant performance. Yet I think I made a fair average running. And it was at school I heard first of the door in the wall, that I was to hear of a second time only a month before his death. To him at least the door in the wall was a real door leading through a real wall to immortal realities. Of that I'm now quite assured. And it came into his life early, when he was a little fellow between 5 and 6. I remember how, as he sat making his confession to me with a slow gravity, he reasoned and reckoned the date of it. There was, he said, a crimson Virginia creeper in it, all one bright uniform crimson in a clear amber sunshine against a white wall. That came into the impression somehow, though I don't clearly remember how, and there were horse chestnut leaves upon the clean pavement outside the green door. They were blotched yellow and green, not brown nor dirty, so that they must have been new fallen. I take it that means October. I look out for horse chestnut leaves every year, and I ought to know. If I'm right in that, I was about 5 years and 4 months old. He was, he said, rather a precocious little boy. He learned to talk at an abnormally early age, and he was so sane and old-fashioned, as people say, that he was permitted an amount of initiative that most children scarcely attain by 7 or 8. His mother died when he was born, and he was under the less vigilant and authoritative care of a nursery governess. His father was a stern, preoccupied lawyer who gave him little attention and expected great things of him. For all his brightness, he found life a little grey and dull, I think, and one day he wandered. He could not recall the particular neglect that enabled him to get away, nor the course he took among the West Kensington roads. All that had faded among the incurable blurs of memory, but the white wall and the green door stood out quite distinctly. As his memory of that remote childish experience ran, he did at the very first sight of that door experience a peculiar emotion, an attraction, a desire to get to the door and open it and walk in. And at the same time, he had the clearest conviction that either it was unwise or it was wrong of him, he could not tell which, to yield to this attraction. He insisted upon it as a curious thing that he knew from the very beginning, unless memory has played him the queerest trick, that the door was unfastened, and that he could go in as he chose. I seemed to see the figure of that little boy, drawn and repelled, and it was very clear in his mind, too, though why it should be so was never explained, that his father would be very angry if he went through that door. Wallace described all these moments of hesitation to me with the utmost particularity. He went right past the door, and then, with his hands in his pockets and making an infantile attempt to whistle, strolled right along beyond the end of the wall. There he recalls a number of mean, dirty shops, and particularly that of a plumber and decorator, with a dusty disorder of earthenware pipes, sheet-lead ball taps, patterned books of wallpaper, and tins of enamel. He stood pretending to examine these things, and coveting, passionately desiring the green door. Then, he said, he had a gust of emotion. He made a run for it, lest hesitation should grip him again. He went plump with outstretched hand through the green door, and let it slam behind him. And so, in a trice, he came into the garden that was haunted all his life. It was very difficult for Wallace to give me his full sense of that garden into which he came. There was something in the very air of it that exhilarated, that gave one a sense of lightness and good happening and well-being. There was something in the sight of it that made all its colour clean and perfect and subtly luminous. In the instant of coming into it, one was exquisitely glad, as only in rare moments, and when one is young and joyful, one can be glad in this world. And everything was beautiful there, Wallace mused, before he went on telling me. You see, he said, with the doubtful inflection of a man who pauses at incredible things, there were 2 great panthers there. Yes, spotted panthers, and I was not afraid. There was a long, wide path with marble-edged flower borders on either side, and these two huge velvety beasts were playing there with a ball. One looked up and came towards me, a little curious as it seemed. It came right up to me, rubbed its soft, round ear very gently against the small hand I held out and purred. It was, I tell you, an enchanted garden. I know. And the size? Oh, it stretched far and wide, this way and that. I believe there were hills far away. Heaven knows where West Kensington had suddenly got to. And somehow it was just like coming home. You know, in the very moment the door swung to behind me, I forgot the road with its fallen chestnut leaves, its cabs and tradesmen's carts. I forgot the sort of gravitational pull back to the discipline and obedience of home. I forgot all hesitations and fear, forgot discretion, forgot all the intimate realities of this life. I became, in a moment, a very glad and wonder-happy little boy in another world. It was a world with a different quality, a warmer, more penetrating and mellower light, with a faint, clear gladness in its air, and wisps of sun-touched cloud in the blueness of its sky. And before me ran this long, wide path, invitingly, with weedless beds on either side, rich with untended flowers, and these two great panthers. I put my little hands fearlessly on their soft fur, and caressed their round ears, and the sensitive corners under their ears, and played with them. And it was as though they welcomed me home. There was a keen sense of homecoming in my mind. And when presently a tall, fair girl appeared in the pathway and came to meet me, smiling, and said, "Well," to me, and lifted me and kissed me, and put me down, and led me by the hand. There was no amazement, but only an impression of delightful ripeness, of being reminded of happy things that had in some strange way been overlooked. There were broad steps, I remember, that came into view between spikes of delphinium, and up these we went to a great avenue between very old and shady dark trees. All down this avenue, you know, between the red-chapped stems, were marble seats of honour and statuary, and very tame and friendly white doves. And along this avenue my girlfriend led me, looking down. I recall the pleasant lines, the finely modelled chin of her sweet, kind face, asking me questions in a soft, agreeable voice and telling me things, pleasant things I know, though what they were I was never able to recall. And presently, a little capuchin monkey, very clean, with a fur of ruddy brown and kindly hazel eyes, came down a tree to us and ran beside me, looking up at me and grinning, and presently leapt to my shoulder. So we went on our way in great happiness. He paused. "Go on," I said. "I remember little things. We passed an old man musing among laurels, I remember, and a place gay with parroquets, and came through a broad shaded colonnade to a spacious cool palace, full of pleasant fountains, full of beautiful things, full of the quality and promise of heart's desire. And there were many things and many people, some that still seem to stand out clearly, and some that are a little vague. But all these people were beautiful and kind. In some way, I don't know how, it was conveyed to me that they all were kind to me, glad to have me there, and filling me with gladness by their gestures, by the touch of their hands, by the welcome and love in their eyes. Yes. He mused for a while. Playmates I found there. That was very much to me, because I was a lonely little boy. They played delightful games in a grass-covered court where there was a sundial set about with flowers, and as one played, one loved. But it's odd. There's a gap in my memory. I don't remember the games we played. I never remembered. Afterwards, as a child, I spent long hours trying, even with tears, to recall the form of that happiness. I wanted to play it all over again, in my nursery, by myself. No. All I remember is the happiness of two dear playfellows who were most with me. Then presently came a somber, dark woman with a grave, pale face and dreamy eyes. A somber woman wearing a soft, long robe of pale purple, who carried a book, beckoned and took me aside with her into a gallery above a hall. Though my playmates were loath to have me go, and ceased their game, and stood watching as I was carried away. "Come back to us," they cried. "Come back to us soon." I looked up at her face, but she heeded them not at all. Her face was very gentle and grave. She took me to a seat in the gallery, and I stood beside her, ready to look at her book as she opened it upon her knee. The pages fell open. She pointed, and I looked, marveling. For in the living pages of that book, I saw myself. It was a story about myself, and in it were all the things that had happened to me since ever I was born. It was wonderful to me because the pages of that book were not pictures, you understand, but realities. Wallace paused gravely, looked at me doubtfully. "Go on," I said. "I understand." They were realities. Yes, they must have been. People moved and things came and went in them. My dear mother, whom I had near forgotten. Then my father, stern and upright. The servants, the nursery. All the familiar things of home. Then the front door and the busy street with traffic to and fro. I looked and marveled, and looked half doubtfully again into the woman's face, and turned the pages over, skipping this and that, to see more of this book and more. And so at last I came to myself, hovering and hesitating outside the green door in the long white wall, and felt again the conflict and the fear. And next I cried, and would have turned on, but the cool hand of the grave woman delayed me. Next, I insisted, and struggled gently with her hand, pulling up her fingers with all my childish strength. And as she yielded and the page came over, she bent down upon me like a shadow and kissed my brow. But the page did not show the enchanted garden, nor the panthers, nor the girl who had led me by the hand, nor the playfellows who had been so loath to let me go. It showed a long grey street in West Kensington, on that chill hour of afternoon before the lamps are lit. And I was there, a wretched little figure, weeping aloud for all that I could do to restrain myself. And I was weeping because I could not return to my dear playfellows who had called after me. "Come back to us. Come back to us soon." I was there. This was no page in a book, but harsh reality. That enchanted place and the restraining hand of the grave mother, at whose knee I stood, had gone. Whither have they gone? He halted again and remained for a time staring into the fire. "Oh, the wretchedness of that return," he murmured. "Well," I said after a minute or so, "poor little wretch I was, brought back to this grey world again. As I realized the fullness of what had happened to me, I gave way to quite ungovernable grief. And the shame and humiliation of that public weeping and my disgraceful homecoming remain with me still. I see again the benevolent-looking old gentleman in gold spectacles who stopped and spoke to me, prodding me first with his umbrella. "Poor little chap," said he. "And are you lost then?" And me, a London boy of 5 and more. And he must needs bring in a kindly young policeman and make a crowd of me, and so march me home. Sobbing, conspicuous and frightened, I came from the enchanted garden to the steps of my father's house. That is as well as I can remember my vision of that garden, the garden that haunts me still. Of course, I can convey nothing of that indescribable quality of translucent unreality, that difference from the common things of experience that hung about it all, but that is what happened. If it was a dream, I'm sure it was a daytime and altogether extraordinary dream. Naturally, there followed a terrible questioning by my aunt, my father, the nurse, the governess, everyone. I tried to tell them, and my father gave me my first thrashing for telling lies. When afterwards I tried to tell my aunt, she punished me again for my wicked persistence. Then, as I said, everyone was forbidden to listen to me, to hear a word about it. Even my fairy tale books were taken away from me for a time, because I was too imaginative. Eh? Yes, they did that. My father belonged to the old school, and my story was driven back upon myself. I whispered it to my pillow that was often damp and salt to my whispering lips with childish tears. And I added always to my official and less fervent prayers this one heartfelt request. Please God, I may dream of the garden. Oh, take me back to my garden. Take me back to my garden. I dreamt often of the garden. I may have added to it, I may have changed it, I do not know. All this, you understand, is an attempt to reconstruct from fragmentary memories a very early experience. Between that and the other consecutive memories of my boyhood, there is a gulf. A time came when it seemed impossible I should ever speak of that wonder glimpse again. I asked an obvious question. No, he said. I don't remember that I ever attempted to find my way back to the garden in those early years. This seems odd to me now, but I think that very probably a closer watch was kept on my movements after this misadventure to prevent my going astray. No, it wasn't until you knew me that I tried for the garden again. And I believe there was a period, incredible as it seems now, when I forgot the garden altogether. When I was about 8 or 9, it may have been. Do you remember me as a kid at St. Athelstan's? Rather. I didn't show any signs, did I, in those days of having a secret dream? Chapter 2.
The door in the wall, the door in the wall. The door in the wall이었습니다. 1장까지만 합시다, 오늘은.
And keeps going back to the past. If you're tired of feeling
제목은 Don't cry for yesterday. Start living. Don't cry for yesterday.
like you're not moving forward, then this video is for you. Because sometimes it's not a person or the world that's holding us back. It's yesterday. A memory, a mistake, a regret, a heartbreak, a failure, a voice that whispers, "You're not good enough anymore." But listen, you don't live in the past. You live here. You live now. And from this moment, you have the power to start again. In this video, I will take you through 9 emotional, powerful, and life-changing lessons to help you heal from your past, rebuild your confidence, protect your energy, train your brain to move forward, and design a new life with peace, power, and purpose. This is not just another motivational video. This is a message from one broken soul to another, telling you that you can rise again. No matter what you've been through, no matter how much you've lost, you still have something the past doesn't have. Today, before we begin the first lesson, remember this. Every word you hear today will not only heal your heart, but also improve your English. You'll learn new phrases, emotional expressions, and real-life sentences while understanding life deeply. So, if you want to grow in English and in life, make sure to subscribe right now. And let's start with our first lesson. Let go of yesterday. Lesson 1. Let go of yesterday. Let's begin with the hardest part and also the most important part, letting go. Because as long as you keep holding on to what broke you, you will never have the hands free to build what can heal you. It doesn't mean you forget. It doesn't mean what happened was okay. It doesn't mean you're weak or fake for moving on. Letting go means you're choosing peace over pain. You're choosing growth over guilt. You're choosing life over looping thoughts. Because here's the truth. Your mind can become a time machine, and it will take you back again and again and again unless you learn to break that loop. Letting go means you stop bleeding from a wound that no longer needs your attention. It means you don't scratch the scar anymore. You protect it. You let it become part of your story, not your identity. Letting go is not easy, and I want to be honest about that. We hold on to the past because it gave us comfort, even if it hurt. It gave us a sense of identity. I'm the one who was betrayed, or it gave us a story. I failed once, so I'm a failure forever. Sometimes we feel we're protecting the pain. If I let go, they win. Sometimes we're scared that without that pain, we are nothing. But listen to this carefully. You are not the pain. You are the person who survived it. Let me tell you a simple story. There was once a traveler who wanted to climb a high mountain. He carried a big backpack full of things: old letters, broken souvenirs, heavy rocks from his past. He thought he needed all of it. But the higher he went, the heavier it became. He started to slow down. He couldn't breathe. He almost gave up. Then a wise man saw him and said, "You're not tired because of the mountain. You're tired because of what you're carrying." The traveler cried. He started dropping one item after another. He let go of the rocks, the letters, the weight. And for the first time, he felt light. The mountain didn't change. He changed by letting go. That's your life too. You're not weak. You're just carrying too much yesterday on your back. Repeat this to yourself. I am not what happens to me. I am not my mistake. I am not that heartbreak. I am not my failure. I am still here, and I choose peace now. Because peace doesn't come when you finally understand the past. Peace comes when you decide you no longer need to understand it. When you start letting go, little by little, your chest will feel lighter. Your thoughts will get clearer. You'll stop replaying the same scene in your mind. You'll begin to sleep better. You'll start making space for new dreams, new people, and new peace. Letting go is not one moment. It's a daily decision. It's telling yourself, I may not be who I used to be, but I am learning who I can still become. Don't cry for yesterday. Thank it, because it taught you something. And now, let it go. Don't let yesterday steal one more minute of your life. Your future is still waiting. But it can't knock on the door if you keep staring at the one that already closed. Let it go. Lesson 2. Rebuild confidence after pain. There is a silent moment that happens in every broken person's life. A moment where they look at themselves in the mirror and whisper, I don't even know who I am anymore. If you've ever felt like that, if your confidence has been shattered by failure, heartbreak, betrayal, guilt, loss, or rejection, this lesson is for you. Because I want to tell you something from the bottom of my heart. You can rebuild, and you will not be the same person you used to be, but someone even stronger, smarter, wiser, and more powerful. Let's be honest, pain doesn't just hurt us, it changes us. When someone breaks your trust, when you fail again and again, when people laugh at your dreams, when you give your best and still lose, you start questioning everything. Am I even good enough? Maybe I'm not smart like others. What if I try again and fail again? I don't trust myself anymore. Confidence breaks silently, not in a scream, but in quiet moments of doubt. And the problem is, when confidence breaks, you stop trying. You stop speaking up. You stop showing the world your real potential. But the world hasn't seen your final version yet. You are not done. Let's first clear one myth. Confidence is not loud. It's not ego. It's not faking strength. Real
Real
confidence
confidence
is quiet
is a quiet
self-respect,
self-respect,
trusting your
trusting
ability to
your
handle
ability
things,
to handle things,
being okay with
being
not
okay
knowing
with not
everything,
knowing everything,
getting back
getting
up
back
even
up
after
even
being
after
crushed,
being crushed,
and saying,
and say,
yes, I'm
yes, I'm
scared,
scared,
but I'll still
but I will
try.
start
Confidence
try.
is not about
Confidence
being
is not
perfect.
about being perfect.
It's about
It's
feeling
about
safe
feeling
inside
safe
yourself,
inside
no matter
yourself.
what happens
No matter
outside.
what happens outside,
Start with small
start with a
promises
small
to
promise
yourself.
to yourself.
Forget big goals
Forget
right
big
now.
goal right now.
Just wake up and do
Just
one
wake up
small
and do
thing
one
you
small
said you'd
thing you
do.
said you'd do.
Drink water in the
Drink
morning.
water in the
Walk
morning.
for 5
Walk
minutes.
for 5 minutes.
Clean one
Clean
corner of
one
your room.
corner of your room.
Speak one sentence in English out loud. Why?
Why?
Because every time you keep a promise, your brain says, maybe I can trust myself again. Confidence starts with trust, not in others, but in you. Remove the mirror of comparison. One reason you feel broken is because you keep measuring yourself against your old self, other people, or perfect versions on social media. But listen carefully. You're comparing your pain to their highlight reel. You're comparing your failure to someone's lucky moment. You're comparing your messy healing to someone's fake smile. That's not fair. Stop that mirror. The only person you need to compete with is yesterday's you. Speak to yourself like you matter. Your inner voice becomes your outer world. If you keep saying, I'm dumb, I can't learn, I'm a loser, then you are building a prison with your own words. Instead, try this. I'm learning. I'm getting better. I survived. That means I'm strong. I'm not perfect, but I'm trying. Speak to yourself like someone who deserves love, because you do. Celebrate every tiny victory. Did you speak one English sentence today? Clap for yourself. Did you show up even when you were tired? That's brave. Did you say no to a toxic thought? That's powerful. When you celebrate small wins, your brain says, I'm not failing, I'm growing. Confidence is not built by big moments. It's built by tiny choices every day, stacked on top of each other like bricks. Use your pain as a superpower. This is the most powerful step. Instead of hiding your pain, own it. Use it. Transform it. Say, yes, I was heartbroken, and I learned about real love. Yes, I failed, and now I know what not to do. Yes, I was rejected, and I still chose to rise. Pain doesn't make you weak. It gives you X-ray vision. You now see what others don't. You feel deeper. You think clearer. You love harder, and you rise stronger. Confidence after pain is unshakable because you've already seen the worst. Now you're not scared anymore. Example. There was a girl in college. She failed her English oral exam because she froze. Everyone laughed. She cried. For 2 weeks, she didn't go back to class. But then she did one thing. She stood in front of the mirror every morning and said, I will speak again. I'm not a failure. I'm learning. Every day she learned one sentence, not 100, just one. She spoke slowly, softly. Then one day she stood up again in class. She spoke with fear in her voice, but power in her eyes. She passed. Not just the exam. She passed the wall of fear and built her confidence again, one sentence at a time. You are not broken. You are rebuilding. You are not behind. You are recovering. You are not weak. You are rewiring. You are not lost. You are relearning how to trust your own feet. It will take time. But every step you take back into yourself is a step toward a new future. Don't rush it. Don't fake it. Don't try to be perfect. Just keep building. One brick of courage, one word of kindness, one step of effort, and one day you will stand tall again. Not as the person
Not
who
as
never
the person
fell,
who never
but as the
fell,
one
but
who
as the
rose
one
again
who
when
rose
no one
again
thought they
when
could.
no one thought they
That's
could.
real
That's the
confidence.
real competence.
That's you.
That's you.
Lesson 3.
Lesson 3.
Protect your
Protect
energy
your
and
energy
stay
and
strong.
stay strong.
There is a
There is a
moment in your
moment
healing
in
journey
your
when you
healing
realize
journey
it's
when you
not just the
realize it's
past
not
that
just
hurts
the
you.
past that hurt you.
It's what you
It's
allow in your
what you allow
present
you
that
in
keeps
your
wounding
presence
you
that keep
again and
wondering
again.
you again and again.
You may be
You
doing your
may be
best to
doing
move
your
on,
best
to
move
rebuild
on,
your
to rebuild
confidence,
your
and to let
confidence.
go of the pain. But if you keep
But if you
surrounding
keep
yourself with
surrounding
toxic
yourself
people,
with toxic
draining
people,
conversations,
conversation,
negative
negative
environments,
environment,
and
and
painful
painful
reminders,
reminder,
you are trying
you
to
are
heal
trying to
inside a
heal inside a
battlefield.
battlefield.
That's why this lesson
Why
is not
this
just
lesson not
advice,
just advice,
it's your
it's
survival strategy.
strategy.
Let's learn how to
Let's learn
protect the
how to
most precious
protect the
thing you
most
have left,
precious thing you
your
have
energy.
left, your energy.
Most people
Most
talk
people
about
talk about
motivation, but motivation is temporary. It comes and
It
goes.
comes and goes.
Energy is deeper. Energy
Energy
is your
is
mental
your
space,
mental space,
emotional health, inner peace, focus, self-worth, and the will to try again. And you know what steals energy the fastest? Not failure, not hard work, but people, thoughts, and habits that drain you slowly. Let's call them emotional thieves. Here are the 5 biggest ones. Overthinking the past. Replaying the same scene again and again. What if I had done that? Why did they do this to me? The past already hurt you once. Stop letting it hurt you 100 more times in your mind. Toxic people around you. These are the people who always talk negatively, laugh at your dreams, gossip and judge, blame you for everything, and call you too emotional when you express pain. You don't need to hate them, but you do need to protect yourself. Trying to please everyone. You say yes when you want to say no. You hide your real feelings. You work harder just to be accepted. But every time you do that, you lose a small piece of yourself. The more you please everyone, the more you disappear. Scrolling without purpose, hours go by. You're not learning. You're not healing. You're just comparing yourself to others, and by the end, you feel tired, ugly, useless, and lost. That's not entertainment. That's emotional poison. Fighting battles that are not yours. You try to fix everyone. You carry the weight of your family, friends, or partner. You solve their mess, sacrifice your peace, and destroy your own mental health. Help when you can, but don't lose yourself while saving others. Let's now build a shield around your soul. Give yourself permission to protect your peace. You don't owe anyone access to your mind, your time, or your emotions. Just because someone is in your life doesn't mean they get to live inside your thoughts. Say this out loud. I protect my peace. I control my energy. I decide what I allow. You're not rude. You're not selfish. You're healing, and that's sacred. Set invisible boundaries. You don't always need to block or cut people off. Sometimes protecting your energy is saying less, responding slower, staying quiet during drama, smiling but keeping your distance, and loving people from far away. You're not punishing them. You're respecting yourself. Start doing energy check-ins daily. Every night, ask yourself, who gave me peace today? Who drained me? What thoughts helped me heal? What thoughts pulled me down? Then decide, I will give more energy to what gives me life, and take away energy from what takes away my light. Be okay with being misunderstood. When you protect your energy, some people will call you distant. Some will say you've changed. Some will guilt trip you. Some will act like victims. Let them. The old version of you gave too much. The new version protects what's left. Stay strong. You don't need to explain your boundaries to people who never respected them in the first place. Create a safe zone for yourself. Have a place, a habit, or a routine where you recharge daily. A 10-minute walk without your phone, listening to calming music, speaking one sentence of English in the mirror, writing your thoughts down, drinking water, sitting in silence, or saying 3 things you're grateful for. Your safe zone is where you remember, I'm not lost, I'm learning, I'm healing, I'm enough. There was a man who always argued to defend himself. Every insult he fought back, every judgment he explained, every guilt trip he apologized for things he didn't do. One day he stopped. He started smiling and walking away. He said nothing. He gave no reaction. And slowly he got his peace back because he realized you don't need to win every battle. You just need to win back your energy. You are not tired because you're weak. You're tired because you keep giving energy to what doesn't deserve you. Now is the time to change that. From today, you don't chase people. You don't beg for attention. You don't explain your value. You don't fight battles that drain your soul. From today, you protect your energy. You protect your growth. You protect your peace like your life depends on it. Because it does. Lesson 4. Train your brain to stop living in the past. You may have already left the situation. The breakup is over. The job is gone. The person is no longer with you. The moment has passed, but somehow the pain is still fresh. The memory still controls you. You're brushing your teeth, and suddenly the past hits you like a storm. You're trying to enjoy your evening, and boom, a painful flashback ruins it. Why? Because even though your body left the past, your brain stayed behind. And unless you train your brain to come back into the present, you will stay trapped in a loop that steals your energy, time, and happiness. Let's now break that loop. Your brain is not your enemy. It's just trying to protect you. It replays the past because it wants to make sense of what happened. It wants to avoid getting hurt again. It wants to learn a lesson. Or sometimes it just wants to punish you again and again because of guilt. But here's the problem. The brain is not a healer. It's a recorder. It keeps repeating what it remembers, not because it's right, but because it's familiar. That's why healing doesn't begin with motivation. Healing begins. Let's now learn how. Name the loop when it starts. Every time your mind suddenly jumps into the past, stop and say, this is a thought, not reality. This already happened. It's not happening now. Why? Because your brain doesn't know the difference between memory and real life. That's why your body reacts to past pain like it's happening right now. But when you label it as just a thought, not a fact, you break the automatic emotional reaction. Use this simple grounding technique. Here's a powerful brain exercise anyone can do, even English beginners. The next time you're lost in the past, do this. Look around and say, 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, 1 thing you're thankful for. It sounds simple, but it pulls your brain back into the present moment. Your brain cannot focus on pain and peace at the same time. So when you give it peace, the pain starts to fade. Change the language you use about the past. Stop saying, I ruined my life. I was stupid. I can never forgive myself. They destroyed me. Start saying, I didn't know better then, but I do now. I was not stupid. I was emotional, honest, and learning. They hurt me, yes, but I survived. That chapter is over. I'm writing a new one. Language rewires belief. Belief changes reality. If you want your
If you
brain to
want
stop
your
returning
brain
to the
to
past,
stop returning past,
stop dragging the past into your daily vocabulary. Limit triggers that bring you back. Sometimes your brain is doing fine until a song plays, a photo appears, a place reminds you, or you recheck old messages just one more time. That one more time pulls you 100 steps backward. Don't reopen a wound that was trying to close. You don't need to delete everything, but give yourself time to stay away from old photos, places you visited with them, messages, gifts, and memories that don't help your healing. It's not weakness. It's called emotional recovery. Train your brain with new routines. Here's a secret. Your brain doesn't stop thinking about the past because you told it to. It stops when it's busy building something new. So give it something better to think about. Start small. Learn 5 English words a day. Take a 10-minute walk while listening to a podcast. Read 1 page of a book daily. Write 3 thoughts every night. Repeat this sentence each morning. Today is a new day. I choose peace. You are replacing the old loop with a new one that gives power, not pain. New routines equal new brain wiring, which equals a new life. There was a man who couldn't sleep for 2 years, not because of work stress, not because of a disease, but because he kept replaying the moment his partner left him. Every night he went back to that day. He couldn't stop. One day his therapist told him, "You're not healing because you think pain is the only memory you have." She told him to do 3 things. 1. Say the sentence, "That was a moment. I am not that moment." 2. Write 1 positive sentence about the future every night. 3. Walk for 15 minutes every morning while repeating this. I am no longer where I was. I am where I am. After 60 days, he could finally sleep again. Why? Because he trained his brain to stop replaying pain and start practicing presence. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who controls them. Your brain is powerful, but it is trainable. You don't have to believe every thought. You don't have to follow every memory. You don't have to stay stuck in a time that no longer exists. From today, you interrupt the loop. You label the thoughts. You ground yourself. You speak a new language. You build new routines. And you forgive your brain because it's just trying to protect you. But now, you protect yourself. Don't live in the past. That version of you doesn't need your attention anymore. The new version of you is waiting to be born. Train your brain to return to where your life is, happening here. Now, lesson 5. Your past doesn't define you. Your next move does. Let's start with the truth that most people never hear enough in their life. You are not your past. You are not your failure. You are not your pain. You are not what they did to you. You are not the worst thing that ever happened to you. And yet you live like you are. Why? Because when something painful happens, a breakup, a betrayal, a loss, a failure, a moment of shame or embarrassment, it doesn't just end there. Your brain makes it part of your identity. You stop saying, "That happens to me," and you start saying, "That's who I am now." And that lie, it kills your future. Let me ask you a question. If a man fails one exam, is he a failure forever? If a woman goes through heartbreak once, is she unlovable forever? If a child makes a mistake, should we label them broken? Of course not. But we do it to ourselves. You say things like, "I'm not smart. I'm not confident anymore. I'm not good with people. I'm not lucky like others. I'm not lovable." But those are not facts. They're just scars. And scars are evidence of survival, not identity. If your past doesn't define you, then what does? Your next decision, your next sentence, your next move. Let me repeat that. You are not who you were. You are what you do next. Every time you try again, speak up, take responsibility, choose peace, show kindness, or say, I'm not giving up today. You are writing a new story. And the past? That was just the first chapter, not the ending. Imagine a girl who spoke broken English. She was laughed at during a presentation. Her classmates joked about her accent. She cried, skipped school for 2 weeks, and told herself, I'm just not meant to speak English. But one day, she picked up a mirror and said, they don't decide who I am. My next move will. She started learning 5 words a day. She practiced sentences in the mirror. She made mistakes and kept going. And 1 year later, she gave a speech on stage in English flawlessly. The audience clapped, but she wasn't proud of the speech. She was proud of the next move she made after failure. It's not your past that is holding you back. It's the story you keep telling yourself about it. From today, don't repeat the story of your pain. Repeat the power of your choice. Say this out loud. I am not who I was. I am who I choose to become. The next sentence you speak, the next decision you make, the next brave step you take, that is who you are. Lesson 6. You were meant to be broken so you could build better. This may sound strange, but sometimes the worst thing that ever happened to you is actually the best thing that ever happened to your soul. Because pain doesn't just destroy, pain reveals. Think about it. A building that's weak inside needs to collapse before it can be rebuilt stronger. A seed must be broken before it grows. A muscle must be torn before it becomes powerful. So maybe you didn't break because you were weak. Maybe you broke because something stronger needed to be born inside you. Maybe life needed to show you who your real friends are, what really matters, how much strength you have, what you truly deserve, and who you were never meant to be again. Pain is a mirror. It shows you who you are. And pain is a hammer. It shapes who you're becoming. Here's what people don't understand. If nothing had broken you, you would have continued living as someone who wasn't really you. You would have kept people who didn't deserve you. You would have stayed small, silent, scared. You would have accepted a version of life that was never meant for your greatness. But the pain, it shattered that version. And now you're free to build something real. Instead of saying, why did this happen to me? Say, this happened for a reason. Maybe I don't see it now, but it's shaping me into something greater. You don't need to be thankful for pain, but you can be thankful for what pain taught you. The old version of you wasn't ready for the life you truly deserve. The broken moment forced you to grow into someone who is. There was a boy who was bullied for years. He was shy, insecure, and soft-spoken. One day, he was publicly insulted by a teacher, and the whole class laughed. He went home and cried for hours. He decided to never speak in public again. But later, when he grew up, he became a motivational speaker. Why? Because that pain gave him a mission. I never want anyone to feel small like I did. So I'll teach people how to speak, how to rise, and how to fight back. He used the same pain that broke him to build a platform that changed thousands of lives. That's not weakness. That's transformation. Let me give you a short guide. Accept that you were broken. Don't deny it. Forgive yourself for not being strong back then. Look for what the pain taught you. Truth, clarity, boundaries, and values. Start something new. A habit, a mission, or a practice. Tell
Tell
yourself,
yourself,
this time I'm building with bricks of truth, not illusion. The past version of you built a house of glass. Now, you're building with steel. You didn't break because you were weak. You broke because it was time to build something stronger. From today, wear your pain like armor, not chains. Use your cracks as light, not wounds. Tell your story not with shame, but with power. Say this with me. I was broken, but I broke open. And I will build something so powerful, even I won't recognize it yet. You're not done.
You are not done.
You're just getting
You are
started.
just getting started.
Lesson 7. Stop asking, why me?
Why me?
Start asking, what now?
What now?
Why did they leave me? Why did this happen to me? Why do I always get hurt? Why don't I ever win? Why does it work for others but not for me?
Not for me.
Why is my life like this? If you've ever asked any of these, you're human, because pain always comes with questions. And the most dangerous one is, why me? It sounds like a search for understanding, but most of the time, it's actually a cage. Why me? Is the question that keeps you stuck in the storm while the sun is already rising outside. Let's now break this pattern. When you keep asking, why me, your mind starts looking for someone to blame. Your emotions become trapped in self-pity. You start feeling like a victim of life. You tell yourself, life is unfair. There's no point trying. This creates a loop. You feel powerless. You stop trying. Life gets worse. You ask, why me again? The more you ask it, the smaller you feel, the more bitter you become, and the longer you stay broken. But there's a better question, a life-changing one, a powerful one, a question that turns pain into action. What now? Why me looks backward. What now looks forward. Why me creates blame. What now creates responsibility. Why me keeps you stuck. What now moves you forward. Imagine a strong bridge connecting two cities. Thousands of people cross it every day. One day, there's a powerful storm. The bridge collapses. Now one side is completely cut off. No one can cross. Supplies stop. Trade ends. And panic begins. For days, the people on both sides keep asking, why did this happen to us? Why this bridge? Why now? They argue. They blame the builders. They write angry articles. They talk and talk and talk. But the bridge remains broken. Then, one day, someone asks, what now? That one question changes everything. Instead of complaining, they start gathering materials, building boats to carry people temporarily, sending out teams to rebuild the bridge, installing safety checks, and improving the new design so it won't collapse again. Within weeks, a stronger bridge is built, better than before, faster, more beautiful, and more prepared. The storm didn't stop them. The question did, until they changed it. You are the same. Your life was that bridge. The storm came. It broke everything. But you stayed stuck in why me. Today is the day you stop. Let's say you've been heartbroken, rejected, or hurt. Instead of, why did they hurt me? Ask, what now? What can I learn from this? Instead of, why did I fail again? Ask, what now? How do I improve next time? Instead of, why is life so unfair to me? Ask, what now? How can I protect my peace and rise again? What now is not just a question. It's a command to your brain. It tells your mind, we are not staying here anymore. Let's get up. Let's move forward. Let's build something new. Say this out loud right now. I don't need to understand why everything happened. I just need to choose what to do now. You don't need a perfect explanation. You need a next step. And once you take it, you start healing faster than you ever thought possible. Lesson 8. Build a powerful vision for your new life. Let me ask you something. If I take away your pain, if I erase your past, if I give you peace, then what? What will you do? What life will you create? Because here's the truth most people don't realize. Healing is not the final goal. Creating something beautiful after healing, that's the real transformation. So now it's time to stop focusing on what broke you and start focusing on what you're going to build next. They stop crying, but they don't start dreaming. They stop overthinking, but they don't start planning. They stop blaming the past, but they don't start building the future. They sit in the silence, but forget to ask, what kind of life do I want now? And so they go in circles, peaceful but empty, calm but directionless. But not you. Not after this. You're going to design a new vision so powerful, your past won't even recognize who you've become. It's not just a goal. It's a clear image of the life you want to create. It includes the kind of person you want to become, the kind of relationships you want to have, the kind of energy you want to carry, the kind of peace, success, health, and impact you want to build. It's a mental picture you wake up for, a picture so beautiful you stop looking backward. Imagine a field full of broken glass. It used to be a beautiful garden, but a fire destroyed everything. Now all that's left is ashes and pain. Most people sit in the ashes. They cry. They ask why. They stay there. But one day, someone takes a shovel and begins clearing the glass. They bring new soil. They plant seeds. They water the ground every day. They clean the air. They add color, light, music. Months later, the field becomes a new garden, more vibrant than before. And no one would believe it was once a burned mess. That's your life. You have ashes. You have pain. But you also have seeds. If you start planting them now, your future will look nothing like your past. Here's a simple exercise. Take out a notebook or open your notes and answer, what kind of person do I want to become? Confident, calm, brave, fluent in English, emotionally strong. What kind of peace do I want in my daily life? Less drama, more silence, freedom from anxiety, gentle routines. What do I want to build next? A new habit, a small business, a body transformation, a better relationship with myself. Write the answers. Look at them daily. Visualize them like they're already happening, and take one step every day toward them. You cannot create a better future while still holding the blueprints of a broken past. Tear up the old map. Design a new one. Say this with me. I am no longer focused on what hurt me. I am focused on what I will create next. Your life is not just something to survive. It's something to design, to build, to love, to live fully. And from today, that's exactly what you will do. Lesson 9. You don't need closure. You need courage. We all wait for it. That one last message, that apology, that explanation, that moment where everything makes sense. We think if they just told me why, if I could just ask them one more time, if they gave me closure, I'd finally move on. But here's the truth. You don't need closure. You need courage. Because sometimes the apology will never come. The answer will never make sense. The story will never be finished. The person will never explain. And if you wait for them, you will waste years of your life standing at a closed door waiting for it to open. We think closure is something they give us, but real closure is something we give ourselves. It's the moment you decide, I don't need an answer to grow. I don't need their sorry to feel peace. I don't need them to heal. I choose to heal. That is real power, because we're emotional humans. We want things to make sense. We want to feel seen. We want to know why we weren't enough, why they lied, why it ended, why it failed, why they hurt us if they once loved us. But let me ask you something. If they came and explained everything, would it undo the pain? Would it give you your time back? Would it return your lost peace? No. What brings peace is not their explanation. It's your decision to move forward. Courage is not loud. It doesn't always shout. Sometimes courage is getting out of bed even when your heart is heavy, smiling at the mirror when you feel like crying, saying, I deserve better. Even when you're alone, walking away from a person who still has your heart, choosing peace over answers. Say this with me. I don't need closure. I just need the courage to walk forward, even if I never hear sorry. Because peace is not given. Peace is claimed. If they didn't give you closure, maybe that's the closure. If they walked away, let that be the answer. If they didn't value you, let that teach you how to value yourself. And if they come back one day, you won't need their explanation anymore, because you've already walked far beyond their reach. If this video touched you, if it helped you heal, if you feel just a little bit lighter, stronger, clearer, then subscribe to this channel. Not because I asked, but because you deserve to keep growing. You deserve to stay in a space where your pain is understood and your power is built. This channel is not just about English. It's about becoming the version of yourself you were always meant to be. So subscribe and let's walk this journey together. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, don't cry for yesterday. Build something beautiful for tomorrow. Take care of your heart. Take care of your mind. And never, ever forget your worth.
네, 이렇게 해서 끝이 났는데, 아유, 계속 코가 막혀가지고 얘기하기가 힘이 드네. 네, 다음 세동은 Rebirth of Knowledge, 지식의 재탄생입니다. 어떤 내용이 될지 한번 읽어보도록 합시다.
I still remember the first time I heard the word Renaissance. I was a young apprentice then, working in a small workshop in Florence. My hands always covered in dust from grinding pigments or shaping wood. My master, an old but wise painter, would often speak of a rebirth, a time when people began to think differently, to see the world with fresh eyes. At first, I did not understand what he meant, but as the years passed, I began to see this change with my own eyes. I was born in a time when most people believed what they were told without question. The church was the center of life, and knowledge was limited. Books were rare and expensive, written by hand and kept in monasteries. Only a few people could read, and even fewer had access to learning. But something was changing. Slowly, quietly, like the first light of dawn. Florence, my city, was becoming a place full of new ideas. Wealthy families, especially the Medici, began to support artists, writers, and thinkers. They believed that art and knowledge were important, not just for religion, but for life itself. Because of their support, workshops like ours were busy, and young apprentices like me had the chance to learn more than just basic skills. One day, my master showed me an old book. It was not a religious text, but something very different. It contained writings from ancient Greece and Rome. I remember touching its pages carefully, afraid I might damage something so precious. These, my master said, are the voices of the past. We are bringing them back to life. This was my first real understanding of the Renaissance. It was not just about new ideas, but also about rediscovering old ones. Scholars began to study ancient texts, learning about philosophy, science, and art from long ago. They called this humanism, a way of thinking that focused on human potential and achievements, rather than only on religious beliefs. As I grew older, I began to notice changes everywhere. Artists were no longer painting only flat, simple images. Instead, they started to use techniques like perspective to create depth, making their work look more real. I remember the first time I saw a painting that seemed almost alive. It was as if I could step into it. In our workshop, my master taught me how to mix colors carefully, how to observe light and shadow, and how to study the human body. To understand beauty, he told me, you must understand nature. This idea was new and exciting. Instead of copying old styles, we were encouraged to look at the real world, to study people, landscapes, and objects. I also began to hear about great thinkers and inventors. There was talk of a man who studied everything, from painting to machines to the human body. His name was Leonardo. People said he filled notebooks with drawings of flying machines and detailed sketches of muscles and bones. To me, he seemed like a symbol of this new age, a man who was not limited by one field, but curious about everything. But the Renaissance was not only about art. It was also about knowledge, spreading more quickly than ever before. Around this time, something incredible happened. The invention of the printing press. Before this, books had to be copied by hand, which took a long time. But now, books could be printed in large numbers. This meant more people could read, learn, and share ideas. I remember the first printed book I ever saw. It was simple, but to me, it felt like holding the future in my hands. Knowledge was no longer locked away. It was beginning to reach ordinary people like me. Still, not everyone welcomed these changes. Some believed that new ideas were dangerous. They feared that questioning old beliefs would lead to chaos. And sometimes they were right to worry. The Renaissance was not always peaceful. It was a time of change, and change often brings conflict. Yet for me, it was a time of excitement. Every day felt like a discovery. I was no longer just an apprentice following instructions. I was becoming part of something bigger, a movement that was changing the way people thought, created, and lived. Looking back now, I realized that the Renaissance was not a single moment, but a long journey. It began quietly, with a few curious minds, and slowly grew into a powerful force. And I was there, in my small workshop in Florence, watching the world wake up. I did not know then how far this rebirth of knowledge would spread, or how deeply it would shape the future, but I could feel it, like a rising tide. Something new had begun, and I was ready to follow where it would lead. As the years passed, the changes I once only sensed began to grow stronger and clearer. Florence was no longer just a city of trade and business. It had become a living classroom. Everywhere I went, I heard discussions about ideas, discoveries, and new ways of understanding the world. It felt as if people had awakened from a long sleep, eager to learn, question, and create. By then, I was no longer just an apprentice. My hands had become steady, my eyes more careful. My master trusted me with important tasks, and sometimes even asked for my opinion. But more than my skills, it was my curiosity that had grown the most. I wanted to understand everything, the meaning behind the art, the ideas in the books, and the changes happening around me. One afternoon, I visited a small gathering of scholars. They met in a quiet room filled with books, maps, and strange instruments. I remember feeling nervous at first, as I was just a craftsman among learned men. But they welcomed me kindly, asking about my work and my thoughts. That day, I heard a word that would stay with me forever: humanism. They explained that humanism was about studying humans, their thoughts, their abilities, and their place in the world. It was different from the old way of thinking, which focused only on religious teachings. Humanists believed that people could achieve great things through education, observation, and effort. They studied ancient texts from Greece and Rome, not just to admire them, but to learn from them. They believed that the past held wisdom that could help build a better future. For the first time, I realized that knowledge was not something fixed. It could grow, change, and improve. This idea changed how I saw my own work. Painting was no longer just about decoration or religious duty. It became a way to explore life, emotion, and truth. I began to observe people more closely, the way they moved, the expressions on their faces, the way light touched their skin. Every detail mattered. Around this time, I also noticed how artists were becoming more respected. In the past, they were often seen as simple workers, but now they were being recognized as thinkers and creators. Wealthy patrons invited them into their homes, not just to produce art, but to share ideas. Art and knowledge were becoming deeply connected. In our workshop, we started experimenting with new techniques. One of the most important was perspective. My master showed me how to draw lines that seemed to meet at a single point in the distance. At first, it was difficult to understand, but when I finally saw the result, I was amazed. The image no longer looked flat. It had depth, as if I could walk into it. This simple technique changed everything. It made paintings more realistic and more powerful. It allowed us to tell stories in a way that felt alive. I realized then that art was not just about what we saw, but how we saw it. Another important change came from science. People were beginning to study the natural world more carefully. Instead of accepting old beliefs without question, they started to observe, test, and experiment. I heard about scholars who studied the stars, trying to understand the movement of the heavens. Others examined the human body, learning how muscles and bones work together. At first, these ideas seemed strange, even dangerous. Some believed that questioning traditional knowledge was wrong, but others argued that understanding the world was a way of honoring creation. This debate was everywhere, in workshops, in homes, in the streets. One evening, I met a young student who showed me a printed book filled with diagrams of the human body. I was both fascinated and uneasy. The drawings were detailed and precise, showing muscles, bones, and organs. It was something I had never seen before. To paint the human form, he told me, we must understand what lies beneath the surface. That moment stayed with me. It made me realize that art and science were not separate. They were connected. Both were ways of exploring truth. The printing press continued to spread knowledge at an incredible speed. More books appeared every year, covering subjects from history to mathematics to philosophy. Even people who were not scholars could now access information. I began to read whenever I could, slowly improving my understanding of language and ideas. With this growth of knowledge came a new sense of confidence. People began to believe in their own abilities. They no longer saw themselves as small and powerless, but as individuals capable of learning and creating. This spirit could be felt everywhere, in the art, in the discussions, even in daily life. But not everything was easy. With new ideas came disagreements. Some feared that too much change would destroy tradition. Others believed that progress was necessary, no matter the cost. I often found myself caught between these views, unsure of what the future would bring. Yet, despite these tensions, I felt hopeful. The world was becoming larger, more complex, and more exciting. I was no longer just living in my city. I was part of a wider movement of thought and discovery. As I stood one evening, looking over the rooftops of Florence, I realized how much had changed since my childhood. The city seemed brighter, not just with light, but with possibility. Knowledge was no longer hidden. It was spreading, growing, and shaping the future. And deep inside, I knew this was only the beginning. The more the world around me expanded with knowledge and beauty, the more I began to notice its shadows. The Renaissance was not only a time of light, it was also a time of tension, fear, and difficult questions. For every new idea that brought excitement, there was another that brought doubt. By this time, I had begun to travel beyond Florence. My master believed that to truly grow, I needed to see other cities, meet other artists, and experience different ways of thinking. So, with a small bag and a heart full of curiosity, I set out on my journey. My first destination was Rome. The city felt ancient and powerful, filled with ruins that seemed to whisper stories of the past. Walking among broken columns and great arches, I began to understand why people were so fascinated with ancient Greece and Rome. These were not just old stones. They were symbols of a time when art, architecture, and knowledge had reached great heights. In Rome, I worked with another painter for a short time. He was different from my master, more serious, more focused on perfection. He spoke often about balance, proportion, and harmony. Art, he told me, must reflect order. It must show the beauty of structure. Under his guidance, I improved my understanding of the human form and composition. Every line had meaning, every shape a purpose. But Rome was also a place of strong authority. The church was powerful there, guiding not only religion, but also knowledge and art. Many artists worked on religious projects, painting scenes from the Bible with great care and devotion. While these works were beautiful, I could sense a quiet limit. Some ideas were welcomed, while others were not. During my stay, I heard stories of thinkers who had faced trouble for their ideas. Some had questioned traditional beliefs about the world, suggesting that the earth might not be the center of the universe. These ideas were shocking to many people. They challenged long-held views and created fear among those who believed change could lead to disorder. One evening, in a small gathering, I listened as a scholar spoke softly about the movement of the planets. He used simple tools and careful observation to explain his ideas. Though I did not fully understand the science, I could feel the importance of his work. He was not just studying the stars, he was changing how people saw their place in the universe. But he also spoke with caution, always lowering his voice when discussing certain topics. That was when I realized that knowledge could be both powerful and dangerous. To discover something new was exciting, but to share it could come with risk. After Rome, I traveled to Venice, a city unlike any I had seen before. Built on water, it was full of movement, boats, merchants, travelers from distant lands. Venice felt alive with trade and culture. Here, I saw how the Renaissance was spreading beyond Florence and Rome, reaching new places and mixing with different traditions. In Venice, art had a different style. The colors were richer, the light softer, the atmosphere more emotional. I worked briefly with a group of artists who focused on color and feeling rather than strict structure. At first, it confused me, but soon I began to appreciate their approach. It taught me that there was not just one way to create beauty. It was also in Venice that I saw the true power of the printing press. Shops were filled with books, histories, poems, scientific writings, and translations of ancient texts. People gathered to read and discuss ideas openly. Knowledge was no longer controlled by a small group. It was becoming something shared. I spent many evenings reading by candlelight, slowly improving my understanding of the world. The more I read, the more questions I had. And the more questions I had, the more I realized how much there was still to learn. Yet, even in this vibrant city, there were tensions. Not everyone agreed with the changes taking place. Some feared that too much freedom of thought would weaken tradition and authority. Others believed that knowledge should have no limits. I often found myself thinking about these opposing views. Was it better to protect old beliefs or to explore new ones? Could both exist together? These were not easy questions, and I did not have clear answers. As my journey continued, I began to understand that the Renaissance was not a simple story of progress. It was a complex and sometimes difficult transformation. It brought beauty and discovery, but also conflict and uncertainty. One moment, in particular, stayed with me. I was sketching in a quiet corner of Venice when an older man approached me. He watched my work for a while, then said, "You see the world differently than those before you. But remember, every new way of seeing comes with responsibility." His words remained in my mind long after he left. I realized that being part of this new age was not just about learning and creating. It was also about understanding the impact of our ideas. As I prepared to return to Florence, I felt changed. I had seen great beauty, learned new skills, and discovered ideas that challenged everything I once believed. But I had also seen fear, resistance, and the limits placed on knowledge. The Renaissance was not just a rebirth, it was a struggle between the old and the new. And I was standing in the middle of it, trying to find my place. I did not yet know what role I would play in this changing world. But I knew one thing for certain: there was no turning back. When I finally returned to Florence, I was no longer the same young apprentice who had once stood quietly in my master's workshop. My hands were more skilled, yes, but more importantly, my mind had changed. I carried with me not only sketches and notes from my travels, but also questions, doubts, and a deeper understanding of the world. Florence welcomed me again with its familiar streets and lively spirit, yet something felt different. Or perhaps it was I who had changed. The city was still full of artists, thinkers, and merchants, but now I could see more clearly how all these parts were connected. The Renaissance was no longer just something happening around me. It was something I had become part of. My master, now older and slower in his movements, listened carefully as I shared my experiences in Rome and Venice. He did not interrupt. When I finished, he simply smiled and said, "Now you begin to understand." In the following months, I took on more responsibility in the workshop. I was no longer just assisting, I was creating. My first major painting was a challenge I both feared and welcomed. It was a religious scene, as many works still were, but I approached it differently. I used perspective to create depth, studied real people for my figures, and paid careful attention to light and shadow. When the painting was complete, I stepped back and looked at it for a long time. It was not perfect, but it was mine. More importantly, it reflected the ideas I had come to believe in, that art should not only tell a story, but also reveal truth and emotion. Around this time, Florence continued to grow as a center of learning. Schools and academies began to form, where students could study not only religion, but also mathematics, literature, and science. Education was becoming more organized, more accessible. Young minds were being trained to think, not just to remember. I often visited these places, listening to lectures and discussions. Though I was not a formal student, I felt welcome among them. Knowledge no longer belonged only to a select few. It was becoming something shared, something alive. The influence of the Renaissance was also spreading beyond Italy. Travelers brought ideas to other parts of Europe, where they began to grow in new ways. Art, science, and philosophy were no longer limited to one region. A movement that had begun quietly was now reaching across borders. One of the most powerful changes I witnessed was in the way people saw themselves. In the past, many believed their role in life was fixed and unchangeable, but now there was a growing belief in personal potential. People began to ask, what can I become? What can I discover? This shift in thinking was not small. It changed everything. It encouraged exploration, creativity, and ambition. It led to new inventions, new art, and new ways of understanding the world. I remember one particular day when a young boy came into the workshop, much like I once had. He watched me paint with wide, curious eyes. After a while, he asked, "How do you know what to create?" I paused, thinking carefully before answering. "I observe," I said. "I study. But most importantly, I ask questions." He nodded, though I was not sure he fully understood. But I saw in him the same curiosity that had once driven me. And I realized then that the Renaissance was not just about great artists or famous thinkers. It was about people like him and like me, learning to see the world differently. As the years passed, I continued to work, to learn, and to teach. My master eventually passed on, leaving the workshop in my care. It was a moment of both sadness and pride. I carried forward his teachings, but also added my own. Looking back on my journey, I can see how much the world had changed. Knowledge was no longer hidden. Art was no longer limited. People were no longer silent. The Renaissance had given us something powerful, the courage to think, to question, and to create. But it also left us with a responsibility. Knowledge, I learned, is not just something we receive. It is something we must use wisely. The same ideas that bring progress can also bring conflict if not guided with care. As I stand now in my workshop, watching a new generation begin their own journeys, I feel both hope and wonder. The world is still changing, still growing. The rebirth of knowledge did not end. It continues in every question asked, in every idea explored. And I, once a simple apprentice, have become a witness to this transformation. This is the story of the Renaissance, not just a time in history, but a turning point in the way we see ourselves and our world. A rebirth not only of knowledge, but of the human spirit. In this story, you learned not only history, but also useful English expressions. Let us look at some important idioms and phrases. The first expression is a new dawn. It means the beginning of something new and hopeful. For example, we can say that the Renaissance was a new dawn for knowledge and art. Another useful phrase is open one's eyes. This means to understand something clearly or to see the truth. In the story, traveling to different cities opened my eyes to new ideas. The third expression is think outside the box. This means to think in a creative and different way. Renaissance thinkers and artists did not follow old rules. They thought outside the box and created something new. Another phrase is step into something, which means to enter a new experience or situation. In the story, I stepped into a world of learning and discovery. Finally, no turning back means reaching a point where you cannot return to the past. After learning new ideas, there was no turning back for me. Now, let us practice simple conversation to improve your speaking skills. You can read these aloud or practice with a partner. One question is, what is the Renaissance? You can answer, the Renaissance is a time of rebirth in art, science, and knowledge. Another question is, why was the Renaissance important? A simple answer is, it changed how people think and helped spread knowledge. You can also ask, what did you learn from the story? A good answer is, I learned that curiosity and learning can change our lives. Another useful question is, do you like learning history? Why? You can say, yes, I like it because it helps me understand the world better. Finally, you can ask, what would you like to learn in the future? A possible answer is, I would like to learn more about art, science, and new ideas. Practice these questions and answers slowly and clearly to build confidence. Thank you for listening to this story, The Renaissance, Rebirth of Knowledge.
네, The Renaissance, Rebirth of Knowledge였습니다.